Have you ever hired someone that had incredible technical ability, but then once they got started, you're like, this person has terrible skills, like human skills? How do you handle that?
Oh, so yes, I have absolutely hired people with amazing technical ability and poor human skills. And what do? I make sure that they just don't talk to humans. I mean, like our financial team, they are awesome at finances. Our old financial team. Andrew, our new CFO, he's pretty good. He's okay, although he still has some EQ things. But that being said, they're numbers guys. They're not forward facing. They're not salespeople. They are the numbers guys. They need to know the numbers in and out. And numbers guys, I don't care whether you're a numbers guy or not, you are fucking weird. Period. You just are. Sorry. Cool. It's all right. You'll survive. And I love you for it because you make me money. But you're not going to have your numbers guy trying to chop it up at the front desk asking how your day and your hair is beautiful and etc. They're not going to do that. So if you're going to hire somebody that doesn't have human skills, then don't get upset when they don't have fucking human skills on the backside. Like, test for that. That's part of the conversation. That's part of your ability to hire that person is making sure that does this position require good human skills? And if it does, then don't hire the person that has poor fucking human skills.
Yeah.
You just don't.
You put them in the position
Put them in the
they
position where
fit.
I don't care how bad your human skills are, you don't need to talk to anybody. So you're good.
Yeah.
100%. I've never hired someone for a job that had amazing technical ability and poor human skills when their job required them to have good human skills. I would never do that because I know in the end it's just going to blow up in my face. 100%.
For sure. How do you test out the emotional intelligence piece?
Oh, those are just, again, easy questions that you can get from ChatGPT, like situational awareness, conversations that they've had in the past, and then really just conversations with you. If you have a good interview process and you have multiple different people interviewing the same person, everybody will pick up something a little bit different from them. But if there's a general overall positive feeling about that person, then great. I mean, if you have three different people interviewing or two different people interviewing, you're going to find differences in each other's opinions. And you might have 2 out of 3 people that are like, "Absolutely not," because they picked up on something. You might have 1 out of 3 people that are like, I'm not sure." But, I mean, again, seeing it from different angles, having different people interviewing that have different EQs, they're gonna be able to pick up on that ability to potential candidates' ability to have human skills.
Yeah. Then I think really identifying whether or not if those odd aspects are going to impact the business or if it's okay if it's just the person's just a little bit odd in one way or another. Yeah, everyone's a little
100%.
bit weird, you know?
100%.
One thing that's really shifting as time goes on is that your best team members are really looking for growth
Mhm.
and not perfection. And I've seen this over the years where if people are feeling like they're not going anywhere in the business or they can't see themselves somewhere in the business, they just don't stay. We're definitely in a different phase and landscape of people have to feel it. It's like this next generation had to feel like they were a part of the purpose, the plan, and there was like a place for them to actually grow and make a difference in a company.
Yeah.
Where like generations before us, it was like, okay, I got my 401k, I got
Yep.
these pieces and these parts in place, and this is the perfect little life for me. And this is what I'm supposed to do. And I'm just gonna ride this out for 30 years.
Yep.
And it was like they were okay with that
Yeah.
perfect picture that society had painted. This is what life's supposed to look like. But not anymore.
No.
Team members really want growth.
Yeah, no, people expect their jobs to help develop them nowadays. I won't say people in general. I will say the best hires want to grow. They want to expand. And again, everybody works for themselves. They don't work for you. They want to be a part of something that they love to do. They want to be a part of something that is bigger than themselves and a mission bigger than themselves. But The best hires want coaching, they want the clarity in their job, they want chances to grow, and they don't want a rigid checklist where every day they just like, I'm gonna put this bolt in this block. I'm gonna put this bolt in this block for Ford working for 20 years and then getting a pension or retirement. They want to be able to see the fruits of their labor. They do want the ability to not be micromanaged as much. And so you have to learn how to inspire and instill a sense of ownership in the local clinics and in our local clinics or in your team members so that they treat it like it's their own business. And it's difficult. It's really hard to do. You have to do a lot of visiting that we're understanding now, site visits. You have to talk a lot of the core values. And when you try and control every little single variable, you end up having issues and fights and people that don't want to be around because top talent wants to do what they want to do sometimes. But again, you can get top talent that aligns with your goals and aligns with your vision, and they will align with how you want things done because they see that's the path to success and that's the path to growth. I think the future is going to be trying to coach these teams as much as possible, trying to lead the teams as much as possible instead of like, hey, do this now, etc. But again, they got to want it. And a lot of people don't want it. A lot of people don't want to do what's necessary in order to get to the next level. So you just got to find the people who do, the $1 billion employee is going to be very different than the $50 million a year employee. It will, which is going to be very different than the 5 million a year employee, which is gonna be very different than the $5,000 a year employee.
It's really interesting because I think when you, like, incrementally, what you're paying for those top tier positions, the value that they bring on the other side to take the business from 10,000,000 to 20 to 50 to, whatever,
Yeah,
billion, it's like the value that's created on the other end, the incremental money that they're getting or the profit share that they're getting is, like, 1,000% worth it
yeah,
because where the company can go is far further
yeah.
for people.
But at the beginning, let me tell you, it's gonna hurt. It's going to be a lot of money up front, a lot of money that you have to pour into or don't have. You're gonna take out of your pocket to afford those people. But you're right. Over time, what you're doing again is you're building a system and process that's scalable with people that are scalable.
Yeah, that's an exciting part of it when you really surround yourself with people that are focused on growth. And then also the not perfection part is great because, the reality is nothing is perfect in any scenario. And, sometimes if somebody's coming in looking for perfection, it's like you're gonna be disappointed because
Yeah.
there's some shit that's not working out so great and we gotta fix that. And that's a part of the growth process. You gotta be okay with it.
Yep.
But people who have that, like, "No, it needs to be perfect from the beginning, and it has to look like this," they're not. Those are probably not the people that are focused on growth anyway. Because people
100%.
who know growth know that nothing's perfect
Right.
along the way. And that takes us to, our another point here is the adaptability factor, and that it is number 1 when it comes to moving forward and going forward in
Yep.
business. And how do you see that with 2026, new things coming, and even this, like, new landscape with maybe newer talent, younger
Yeah.
talent, like, their ability to be adaptive?
Look, everything that we are doing changes very, very fast. Every system process 5 years ago is changed today. And so when you hire people for those skills, adaptability, and again, like we talked about, the ability to grow, the humility to want to grow, is a huge part, and accountability. You got to be accountable to yourself to say, hey, I have gaps in my knowledge. I need to fill them. I need to go get training to fill them. If you have those 2 things, then they're gonna understand that the skills that I have right now are not going to be the same skills that I need in 5 years, which are not going to be the same skills that I need in 10 years. And whether you call it accountability or whether you call it adaptability, I would consider it almost the same thing, where you have to be able to recognize, okay, I'm lacking here, or we need to improve here. These are things that I need to do, trainings I need to do, lessons I need to learn, and the skills that you need as a leader is You need to be able to look for people that are going to stay calm. The sky is not always falling. They ask questions and they can figure things out and do things independently and come to a successful end. Otherwise, like sometimes if you just hire people and you let them figure things out independently, if they're always figuring out shit fucking wrong
Mm.
or messing shit up on the backside, then that may not be somebody who you're gonna be able to keep around for a long period of time. Like, despite all this, guys, you still gotta hire intelligent people, which seemingly is getting harder and harder, but they're out there. Trust me, they're out there. Genesis is filled with great, intelligent people.
Yeah.
Um, and so you have to be able to hire adaptable people, accountable people, and that will future proof your business. If your team is going to argue and fight and complain about every new thing you put into place, then there's always going to be some sort of issue in the future. And then you just have to replace that person. So realize that. That's how you have to be able to succeed is adaptability.
And then so on the opposite end of that, has there been somebody or an example, a story that you can share of somebody who was adaptive and then that ended up making a really big difference?
Yeah. I mean, you from the beginning were adaptable and then we fired you from Genesis. It's a great ending to
I'm
the
so
story.
I was so good I
Yeah,
got
you're
fired.
so good you got fired. No, you're so good that we ended up just putting you as CEO of a company and like lead of the other one, the stature and life PRP, so that you could run those, do those, and we don't have to worry about you. Except, I mean, the opportunities that you provided for yourself based off your ability to grow and be adaptable allowed you to be in a position where Brett and I don't have to babysit you. You go do this. Like, we'll take care of this because we can have our team that we hired internally now take care of this. You can run this new business and run these businesses and scale and grow these businesses. And that's the whole goal is being able to grow and build your own income and build your own self and build things up that way
Yeah.
where you have to be adaptable. You have to be in those positions to be able to fit in those positions.
I think one of the things when it comes to how I did that, I guess, I would say, and we talked about this in a previous podcast or another podcast, depending on when they air, but learning like the business owners, like you were giving examples of Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos, like they know every aspect of their business. And also, we've talked about slowing down so that you can be strategic. That's something that I really focus on is like if there's an aspect of business that I'm operating within that I don't understand, I will pay for a course. I want to understand it not from the level of me doing it, but from me being able to have an educated conversation and lead the team the direction that we want to go with a business.
Mhm.
Because the reality is you hire agencies, let's say, marketing agencies or something. You know, if they're sending out email campaigns, let's say email campaigns specifically, they're not in your business,
Yeah.
and it's not their business, so it's not gonna feel the same for them. So they're gonna come in, they're gonna tactically do their job, and some of them will have great ideas around ways that you can do it and some strategies that maybe work from the email marketing campaign side, but they need direction,
Mhm.
and being able to have those conversations from an educated standpoint is like, that's what I wanna do, not because I wanna do that part of the business, but I wanna know how to have the conversation around that part of the business, and I also wanna be able to know how to adjust if we're not getting the results as a company, like, what might I see that they're not seeing? What
Mhm.
opportunities might be there that just because it's not their business, they don't see it from that same viewpoint. So being able to come in and add value to create better outcomes, like, I'll take courses, and I did that for a little while when I was involved in some of the marketing stuff that we were exploring with email marketing campaigns. I took 3 months of training programs with Smart Marketer.
Mhm.
This is almost ten grand.
Mhm.
Like, and I'm so glad I did that because I have a pretty clear understanding of like now how that needs to look. And I
Mhm.
recently just bought the industry insider membership
Mhm.
and it gives you, um, going back to email campaigns, flows that all of the big players are doing in your space.
Mm.
So I can go and I've started this already and I've got spreadsheets of like, what am I gathering? Like, what data can I pull from this? Like, one of the interesting finds is like Kylie Cosmetics.
Mhm.
Huge, huge in the space, in the beauty space, not necessarily skincare, but from the beauty space. They have stopped offering discounts for people to sign up, like 10% off your first order, 15% off your first order. They don't do that anymore. What they do is you get like bonus points
Points.
in your loyalty account.
Yeah.
So you sign up, you get points, but you have to purchase to eventually hit those tiers and get something for free.
Yeah.
They don't just discount their products
Yep.
anymore. So I'm seeing that kind of a trend across different businesses. And then ones that are heavily discounted businesses that's their model is just discounts and special offers all the time. Um, they're the ones that heavily discount on the front side too. But
Mhm.
it's like I can see how that trains your client to expect something long term.
Yeah.
So, it's very cool. Anyway, that being said, I'll dig in that way and learn whatever I can so that I can create the success I want for my own life,
Right.
you know? But anyway, so that's cool. You used me as an example.
There you go.
I didn't lead that up
Yeah. Yeah.
on purpose.
Yeah.
And Vaughn wrote the
Look at you.
question, so
Yep. Yep. Look at you. Got you fired.
it got me fired. I haven't actually I told my mom today, I was like, "Don't tell anyone because 'cause we're not really, like, announcing that. I don't know when we're announcing
Yeah,
or if
we'll
people are
we'll
gonna
probably
know
do
or
it on the
not
next regional, or like all staff call,
Friday."
letting everybody know that like
Yeah.
you're
Which
transitioning
is
to that
actually an
position and stuff
exciting
like that.
thing. I didn't actually get fired, but it's
Yeah,
pretty fun to say.
yeah. I'm just gonna say that she got fired.
I love it. What do you think happens when somebody decides to hire for their business where it is today versus looking at where it could be or what the need will be in the even near future?
Yeah. Nothing. They just really have to understand the fact that they're probably gonna have to replace that person soon. Sometimes we need to hire a warm body to sit in a position and do what
Mm,
we need them to do in that specific period of time until find somebody better. And
yeah.
that's not a negative thing. I tell my staff all the time, like, my job is to find somebody better than you in this position, and your job is to make sure I never do. Not through nefarious ways and not hiring people because they don't have that control anymore, but through the fact that they are so good that I can't find somebody better than them. They're phenomenal at their job. I can't replace them with anyone better because they're the ones that are killing it. And so that's really what's going to happen is that if you aren't thinking a little bit down the line, yeah, and I think there's an aspect of this where you have to hire what you can afford at the time. Like, I couldn't hire Kara, our VP of operations, 5 years ago. We didn't have the money for it. There's no way I would have been able to. So if I wanted to say, well, in 5 years, I want to make sure I have a VP of operations who's able to do this, so I need to hire that now and go hire, it definitely would have caused a lot of strain and strife and issues, and we might not have been able to afford it, and it might have closed clinics down back then and stuff like that. But again, you could also argue devil's advocate on the other side. We're gonna have to we've closed clinics down and cleaned things up, hiring her not because of her position, but because there was a lack of her position and things sometimes are a little bit wonky. So I think you
Mm,
could argue for both sides. I think I tell people now, hire to the highest limit that you possibly can hire in terms of your paycheck, in terms of like what's the money coming in. Hire for the person that's not going to bankrupt you, but that you're going to like break even on in terms of money. If you have a extra $100,000 a year and you don't really need that $100,000, hire somebody for like $99,000 a year sort of thing. Because
yeah.
that person is going to drive your growth above that extra $100,000 that you'll have left over. So they just will.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we were talking about earlier, like, when you get to those higher levels, what you have to pay for those people and the profit share,
Yep.
that type of thing, the bonuses, it ends up multiplying in such a big way. But
100%.
sometimes it's only one person at the beginning and you're not hiring 5
Yep.
different positions. It's like, what's the next best position? Like, what's the next person that's gonna take us the next step so that that increase in revenue is there, so that the cash flow is there, so we can hire the next person.
100%.
So, how do you eat an elephant?
Yeah,
One step
exactly.
at a time.
One bite at a time. The only way to do it.
Kind of circling this back and the landscape of how hiring's changed in 2026 and what we're seeing, the skill sets needed. It's really cool. I look at to use my mom as an example. I had a conversation with her on the way to the podcast today,
Mm,
and it's like she's worked her whole life to barely make ends meet,
mhm,
and she's really not fulfilled. She probably has never really been fulfilled. Actually, the thing I think she's been the most fulfilled at maybe didn't make her the money that she thought she needed to make, so she doesn't do that. She's incredibly fun-loving and
mhm.
lighthearted. So
Yeah.
she was awesome at waiting tables.
Oh, okay, yeah.
She worked at a very high-end restaurant in our local town.
Those people make bank
She
at very high-end
well, it was a
restaurants.
small it
Steph
was a
used to
s
kill it at
s
high-end restaurants, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, that was Vegas. So this was
that's
like
true.
small town in Ohio.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay.
So
$5 tips.
it was a nice high-end restaurant, but still, I think, this idea of, like, working for, a Fortune 500 company seemed appealing
Mhm.
because it was like she could say, I worked for Progressive or I worked
Mm,
whatever." And it's like, I look at that and I go, "I think it's amazing and what we're creating for our kids." Our generation really shifted it. The next generation well, I have kids in 2 generations now,
mhm,
but, like, I look at my son, he is really focused on doing something that makes a difference and matters.
mhm.
And I think, as an entrepreneur, we're kind of like that anyway, but I
Yep.
do think that really started to come about in our generation, and now the next generation is like, that's their focus. And I think about our kids, like where they're gonna be at, our little ones. I won't send Elliot to traditional school for the fact that I think there's a lot more to learn than what sits in the classroom.
Mhm,
And so doing what is considered like independent learning, where she's in certain programs and certain classes, and the nanny we hired, she actually left her job as a Montessori school teacher.
mm.
So she's teaching her Spanish. I mean, she's 2. It was a great nanny because it was like she cleans my house, she teaches her Spanish, she's,
Yeah,
teaching her to read and write and do all these things, and she is babysitting essentially
yeah,
too, so it's
yeah.
awesome. But I think about what's happening in the future, and it's really awesome to see that these shifts are paving the way for our kids to have a different experience when it comes to their work-life relationship and how they feel about themselves and what's really important, and having the skill set and having the emotional intelligence, like, we're gonna teach our kids that. I didn't learn that growing up. I mean, yeah, my mom's charismatic, but the emotional intelligence stuff, I learned as I got older. That was something I had to, like, build.
Mm,
And personal awareness and accountability, all that stuff was stuff that I had to seek to find, but we're teaching our kids that. So when it's their time, whether they get jobs, which none of them probably will, they will probably all be business owners,
yeah,
coming from us,
pretty much.
but, it gives them the opportunity now to live in a different world, and I think that's really cool, especially with the changes with AI and stuff, and it really is the future. The hybrid, the skilled mindset, human-centered, I guess, approach to life and business, like, that's our future, and
Yeah.
our kids are a part of that, which is gonna be really neat to experience.
Teams are going to be a mix of kinda everything. You're gonna have again, we have our financial people who are highly skilled, but not human-centered people. We have our, human-centered sales team and patient care advocates that are very good at speaking with people, but, I mean, obviously, they don't have the skills to do Botox and fillers or read the financials. Any team is going to need all sorts of people. And I've said this a million times, Amazon needs box packers too. Not talking negative on box packers, but just saying like any company is going to have a whole bunch of different people from a whole bunch of different walks of life, and they all need to somehow fit into your system. Now, this is at scale. If you got 5 people, you don't really need a whole ton of different types of people. It could be the same type of people, believe in the same things, etc. But when you have hundreds of employees or thousands or, I forgot Amazon has like 2 million employees now or something like that. It's something stupid. Hey, you look
Wow.
that up, Stefan? How many employees does Amazon have? I heard him say that on a podcast. Yeah,
Wowzer.
1.6 million employees. That's fucking
That's like
insane.
a seventh of the planet. No, it's like even like more than that. There's
I
other
think you're
7.
really wrong
Oh,
on
no,
that.
I'm really wrong.
Yeah, yeah.
Never mind.
Billion.
I'm not the math
We're not math. Yeah, yeah.
person,
Yeah, yeah.
clearly.
You're the human-centered person here.
I have spreadsheets that do the math
I
for
have
me.
spreadsheets. But still, 1.5 million people all doing and working for the same company, you know? They're not doing the
Yeah.
same things, but they're all working for the same company and the same mission of that company. I mean, that would be awesome and horrible at the same time, you know? Um, but there's hybrid there. I mean, I'm sure there's
Yeah.
people that work at home. There's people that never speak to another human being all day long. There's people that program their AI. There's people that work in the, packing boxes and the orders. There's
Well, and the
people that drive,
drivers.
not only do they drive the trucks, some people are driving their own cars. There's so many parts of a business like that and so many different types of people is that you have to be trained to connect with all types of people, lead all types of people, not just focus on credentials, focus on can they succeed in their job and how can they succeed in their job and where to put them so that they can succeed in your position. And again, you might have a really great person who is really good at something that you don't need right now.
Mm.
And so you might have to let them go because you can't afford to keep them because the position that you think they would succeed in is not a position that you need. It's already been filled. It's just an extraneous position that's gonna cause strain on your P&L, and that's okay too.
Yeah.
But you're gonna need a mix of people, and you're gonna need to have, uh, all types of people around you in order to succeed.
Very cool. Very, very cool direction that we're headed. I love that this conversation wasn't about trends. These are real shifts happening in how work is getting done and how leaders have to evolve to attract the right people within their businesses. And I mean, all you have to do is take a look at the market around you and you can see how these things are playing out. So I think this is a really great conversation around what to look for, how to make yourself more valuable if you are looking to set yourself apart in a company, and the things that you can develop skill set wise that you don't have to have the degree for, but really make a company go, okay, you're the exact person that we need on our team to go to the next level.
You cannot build really a future-focused business with old school hiring practices. You cannot focus on, do you have the skills to do this job and nothing else? You need to focus on, do they have the skills and the core values and the ability to learn and accountability and flexibility and all the things above in order to win in today's world. That's how you have to hire. So if you embrace the skills, the flexibility, the human connection, the adaptability, the innovation, you're going to build a business and a team that can really weather any storm, that can get through any type of change, technology, season that your business is going through. And honestly, those are the teams that grow with you and not the teams that you constantly have to replace. So keep that in mind. Every business goes through these seasons as well. Every business needs to go through these seasons to be successful. Every business needs to learn these different stages to be successful. And if you listen to these things and you do these things, you're going to win. It's as simple as that. So hire right, hire the people on your team that are gonna help you grow and wanna be on your side. Hire most ex you know, the most expensive person you can afford that have the skills that you can afford to help you level up your business, and you're gonna win. Thanks for listening, guys.